We, of course, have seen the same kind of action and attitude from Republicans over the Save America Act. We've seen over the NDAA. We've seen over stopping insider trading and so on and so forth. As my boss, Rob Bluey, president of the Daily Signal, said today, Republicans need to just get this thing done and get this thing through, because otherwise, what good are you?
Now, there is a group of senators who want to cancel the August recess and stay. I don't necessarily know if they're going to get their way. I personally hope they do. I hope the Senate does stay in town. But there's a lot of things to get across the finish line, Kelly. I mean, you have the Save America Act, the third reconciliation bill. You have other pieces of legislation that are awaiting action. And now, all of a sudden, we're talking about the anti-weaponization fund and Todd Blanche. Not exactly the message that you might want if you're a Republican heading into an election that's probably going to be decided on bread and butter issues.
And much of the tension you just outlined is Republican on Republican.
Yes, it is. In fact, it is Republican on Republican. Now, here's the fun part. This isn't a straight down the middle split where we're seeing, like with the DSA, a lot of, we have to stop this thing before it starts kind of behavior. No, not at all. In fact, what you are seeing is a Senate that is in complete and utter disarray because more Republicans are choosing sides. This is very unusual in the Senate. It's very unusual. Here's how it normally goes. You have a majority leader or a minority leader, and in the Senate, it's very lockstep. This is what we are going to do, whether it was McConnell or whether it's Thune, or on the Democrat side, whether it's Schumer, whether it was Harry Reid, and senators would not really speak out against others. Now we're seeing something totally different. And what we're finding is that some of the Republicans that I were kind of concerned were going to choose the more establishmentarian side of, we're not canceling the recess, and we're not touching the filibuster, and we're not going to pass the Save America Act, and I'm here to lay here and sleep, are actually siding with the conservatives of the party. A great example of this would be Todd Young. I thought that there was a chance, I think Todd Young's going to actually be on with us next week. I thought that Senator Todd Young of Indiana was going to kind of either be quiet and kind of not side on the August recess team. He is picked the other side. Senator Rogers, as well, from Kansas. I have that right? Senator... I know that sounds silly. Roger Marshall, that's it. Goodness gracious, I was concerned for a second. So Senator Marshall's also joined the team of getting rid of the August recess. Thune is now in a really rough place. He's in a rough place because all he has is Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, sometimes, who lost his primary. He has John Cornyn of Texas, who just lost his primary. He has Mitch McConnell, who is leaving. He has Tom Tillis, who is leaving. He has Lisa Murkowski, who is wildly unpopular among Republicans. And then he has Susan Collins, who is likely going to squeak on by, but that's like one person. One person. Well, now he has another. And I've said this for ages, and some people said, I don't know what I was talking about. Well, here we go. Today, it just so happens that Senator John Curtis of Utah, I told you have Mike Lee of Utah, who's great. And then you have that other senator from Utah who no one knows and is often just like a grumpy man who's like, leave me alone and don't talk to me ever. I'm here to do nothing. Well, John Curtis has come out and also said that he is not going to do anything at all in any way to get rid of the filibuster. So this adds another Republican senator. That brings the total up to 8. Again, we have a majority of 53 in the Senate. So 8 subtracted from 53 is 45. 45 is not a majority to break the filibuster. He's not going to do it. And then John Cornyn was touting it around and saying, yes, I like the Save America Act, but I don't think that we should get rid of the filibuster kind of stuff. It's just bizarre. It's so bizarre to take this approach, getting roasted. And again, as part of this establishmentarian crew that does not want to go to August recess, now Senate Majority Leader John Thune is so nervous that Republican senators are not going to play by the rules and be quiet, but are going to bring up motions that Democrats might play into to encourage chaos. No one knows how Fetterman's going to vote on canceling an August recess. Like, who knows what's going to happen? So the Senate was supposed to be in session today, according to the 119th Congress second session schedule. And they weren't. Thune called for the Senate to be adjourned until Monday. And this is the thing that our producer Josiah has kept a very close eye on. We've talked about it a lot. The reason that they are adjourning until Monday is because they're not actually going to go to a true recess. If you go to a true recess, then Trump gets to appoint and confirm through recess appointments Todd Blanche and a bunch of judges. And the Democrats don't even get to blue slip or voice a no on those judges. Trump just gets to add en masse tons of people that he wants, which at this point he should. It is 2026. What have we been doing? Well, we have to hold a hearing and a hearing for the hearing and a committee for the hearing for the hearing. No. By the way, this is why I believe that there's no way in here, heaven or hell, that Rand Paul is going to actually get Fauci held in contempt of Congress. If the Senate can't even get out of recess and break the filibuster, and they're stuck in this endless adjournment pro forma, not really a recess, because again, you don't want to let Trump appoint anything. Well, then you're not going to hold Rand in contempt, or you're not going to hold Fauci in contempt of Congress. No, you're not. Get out of here. You're telling me Tom Tillis, Mitch McConnell, if he's there, and Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins and Cornyn and Cassidy, again, the same crew who spoke out in favor of getting Merrick Garland as the attorney general. Oh, all of a sudden they're going to come forward and vote to hold Fauci in contempt. No, they're not. You know that. Don't play games with me. There's no accountability here. Again, this is why I, here, Tony, I have called for the repealing of the 17th Amendment of the Constitution. Direct election of senators is retarded. It is a waste of time, and it essentially means that your state's primary elects your senators instead of your state legislature. If your state legislature elected senators, first of all, you would care, your state would care a whole lot more. I've heard the argument, well, I don't like my state legislature. They're very rhino. If your state legislature elected senators, all of a sudden you would find your state legislature looking a whole lot different because people would care about local elections for once. It would be incredible. Additionally, there would be no more 6-year terms. State legislatures, whether unicameral in Nebraska or bicameral elsewhere, commonwealths and states, would be able to recall senators. So the Kentucky State Senate would just be able to recall McConnell and put someone else there. Like, dude, you're old and you're very poor of health. It would be incredible. I mean, and that's where the party is heading, by the way. Not the amendment, but like treating Senate elections this way. Thune is terrified of it. Terrified of it. Now, currently on the board for no recess until the Save America Act is passed, Senator Mike Lee, Rick Scott, Jim Banks, Ashley Moody, Darlene Graham, Tommy Tuberville, Bill Hagerty, Katie Britt, Todd Young, Marshall Blackburn, Eric Schmidt, Dave McCormick of Pennsylvania, Roger Marshall, Jim Risch, and Ted Cruz. So people saying, oh, I don't know where Ted Cruz is going to fall, and that Cruz has joined the list. Now, Senator Kevin Cramer has said no. And Kevin Cramer is the Republican senator of North Dakota. And if you want to imagine what he looks like, he is yet another. All of the senators who are no votes look the exact effing same. Excuse me. I apologize. They look the exact same. Like, they are all an old white guy with like the kind of crop swooped hair like yours truly, but it's white and it's shorter. And then they all don't go with these glasses. They're all like that thinner kind. They all look the exact same. All of them. Every single stinking one of them. Even Lisa Murkowski might be an old white dude with white hair and thin glasses at this point. I'm not quite sure. It's just, and by the way, some of you are, Senator Crapo has also joined. So that's awesome. There's another one that's just joined. Some of you have mentioned other senators and said, I'm surprised this senator isn't on there. I do not think it is particularly legal for me to encourage you to take specific kinds of action. But as I have said to every audience out there, if you believe that it is a good idea to call your senator's office, for a lot of senators, although you may say that does nothing, for many of these senators who have remained quiet, I happen to have it on very good authority that they really do pay attention when they suddenly get swarmed with phone calls. That is just an interesting fact that one might take to heart. I don't know if that's you, but that is certainly interesting. Also, again, Cornyn is still very, very, very upset. He knows he's the one that's holding up Todd Blanche's confirmation as the attorney general. It's just so silly. And at this point, if John Curtis wants to tie himself to these kinds of things, he won't be senator in Utah for very long. He just won't. Now, another thing that there are some Republican senators who are being way too quiet on right now is the passing of additional federal legislation banning all biological males from competing in female sports. This is something that Congress has the ability to do. The Supreme Court has confirmed it on a state level. And again, if they broke the filibuster, which Democrats have already planned to do anyway, this could be passed. It could be a codified into law thing. And by the way, that's also part of the Save America Act. I know. What a concept.